In Vaulted Halls Entombed. Directed by Jerome Chen and based on a short story by Alan Baxter, this episode from Volume 3 blends military action with Lovecraftian horror. A special forces unit is sent into the mountains to rescue a hostage from a terrorist group, but what they find underground is something far more ancient and terrifying. The episode starts like a standard military extraction, but quickly shifts into cosmic horror. Inside the tunnels, they encounter insectoid creatures guarding a chamber that feels alive. As the team is picked off one by one, the survivors come face to face with a godlike tentacled entity bound in chains. Its psychic whispers hint at a larger universe of unknowable horrors. Technically, the episode pushed the limits. Sony used Unreal Engine for real-time rendering, and D14D facial capture gave the characters realistic emotion down to the micro-expressions. The sound design, which won a Golden Reel nomination, layered whispers and deep frequencies to make the voices inside your head feel uncomfortably real. While not the most narratively complex, its strength lies in atmosphere, pacing, and its confident plunge into the unknown. It's one of the clearest examples of Love, Death, and Robots tapping into cosmic horror, where death might be mercy and knowledge is a curse. Beyond the Aquila Rift. Directed by the French studio Unit Image and adapted from a short story by Alistair Reynolds, Beyond the Aquila Rift is one of the most visually ambitious and emotionally devastating episodes in Love, Death, and Robots. It was originally released in 2019 as part of Volume 1 and instantly caught attention for its haunting premise and photorealistic animation. The episode begins aboard the cargo vessel Blue Goose. Captain Tom, along with his crew, is awakened from hypersleep expecting a routine arrival, but something's wrong. They're light years off course, so far beyond the mapped universe that even the system name is unfamiliar. At the station, Tom finds himself greeted by Greta, a woman he once loved. She's welcoming, calm, and tells him that a gate error rerouted their ship. Everything, she says, is fine now. The crew is safe. Help is coming. But something in her voice is too perfect. Something in her smile is just off. The episode's tension simmers slowly. We see Tom enjoying a romantic reunion with Greta, but we also catch flickers of doubt and the unsettling fact that his crew is still unconscious. Every new detail pushes the illusion closer to collapse. Eventually, Tom demands the truth. Greta hesitates, then reveals what he's not ready to see. He wakes up again, this time not in a cozy station, but in a wrecked field of derelict ships and decaying corpses, his body gaunt and broken. Greta was never real. The space station doesn't exist. He's been held captive by an entity that ensnares travelers with comforting illusions while slowly consuming them. Greta was simply the face his mind attached to the trap. Technically, the episode is a marvel. Unit Image pushed the boundaries of 3D animation, with hyper-realistic lighting, facial rendering, and shadow work that rival live-action cinema. The voice acting is sharp and understated, especially in the subtle manipulation of Greta's tone. But behind the sleek visuals and interstellar setting is a deeply human fear, not death, but the fear of being lost forever and never even knowing it. Bad Traveling. Directed by David Fincher and written by Andrew Kevin Walker, Bad Traveling marked a major milestone for Love, Death, and Robots. It was Fincher's first ever animated project, and with just 22 minutes, it managed to deliver one of the most intense moral dilemmas in the entire series. Set in a steampunk-style oceanic world, it centers around a crew aboard a hunting vessel that's attacked by a thanapod, a giant intelligent crustacean. The creature hides in the ship and demands passage to an island populated by humans. The captain, Torin, voiced by Troy Baker, takes control of a mutinous crew and secretly manipulates the others to ensure the creature's destruction, even if it means taking lives. The entire episode plays out like a stage play on water. Tight quarters, dim lantern light, creaking timbers. It's claustrophobic, tense, and dripping with dread. Blur Studio works closely with Fincher's team to render ocean spray, firelight reflections, and realistic wood textures, pushing the animation to live-action levels of detail. The Thanapod itself is one of the most unsettling monsters in the series. Its movements are deliberate and calculated. It's a layered story about moral compromise and utilitarian logic, raising questions about whether doing the right thing still makes you good. The episode is notable not only for its high production value and fluid animation, but for its tight storytelling and grim tone. Fincher's influence is clinical, suspenseful, and morally gray. Critics praised it for combining horror and philosophy without relying on shock value, making it one of the most acclaimed entries in Volume 3. The Secret War. Directed by Istvan Zorkovsky and produced by Digic Pictures, The Secret War closes out Volume 1 of Love, Death, and Robots with a rare mix of historical grit and cosmic horror. Unlike the sleek sci-fi settings of other episodes, this one takes place in the icy forests of Siberia during the final days of World War II. We follow a platoon of elite Red Army soldiers sent to investigate why entire villages are going dark. Radio signals have gone silent. Civilians are missing. The environment is unforgiving. Howling winds, deep snow, and absolute silence. And the only clue? Something unnatural is spreading. As they push deeper into the woods, the soldiers uncover blood-stained ruins and charred bodies. Then they find records of a secret Soviet experiment gone wrong. The NKVD had been trying to summon otherworldly creatures, hoping to use them as weapons, but instead they lost control. The monsters they created are unlike anything the soldiers have faced. Tall, skeletal, and insect-like with glowing red eyes, they move with terrifying speed and intelligence. The first major attack is sudden and brutal. A few men die instantly. Others are pulled into the woods, screaming. The tension doesn't come from jump scares, though. It lies in the inevitability of it all. You know they're not going to get out alive. The animation is hyper-detailed and photorealistic, with careful attention to military uniforms, firearms, and procedural combat tactics. The soldiers are portrayed not as faceless fighters, but as human characters with honor and duty, especially the commanding officer who keeps morale and strategy intact in the face of certain death. Unlike most Love, Death, and Robots episodes that rely on mystery or sci-fi abstraction, The Secret War is straightforward and action-driven. However, its cosmic horror elements aligns it with the larger themes of the anthology. The episode concludes with a desperate final stand, showing the squad sacrificing themselves to contain the evil. It's one of the rare episodes that emphasize bravery and tragedy more than twist or spectacle. The Witness. The Witness is one of the most visually unique and narratively unsettling episodes in Love, Death, and Robots. Directed by Alberto Mielgo, the episode stands out for more than just its chase sequence. It was created entirely with keyframe animation, meaning every moment, gesture, and expression was hand animated without motion capture. That's rare, especially for something that looks this lifelike. The story starts in a futuristic city where a woman glances out her apartment window and sees something she shouldn't have: a man standing over a dead body. Her own. At least that's what it looks like. And then panic takes over. She begins running through the city streets, half naked and terrified. The man chases her through alleyways, across intersections, into strip clubs, and down winding hallways. But you see, the city is a loop, and so is the story. Because at the end of the chase, she kills the man, and realizes he'd been watching her from across the street. The roles flip and the loop resets. Much of The Witness is built around tension, pacing, and voyeurism. The episode doesn't offer explanations for its circular structure either, but it hints at themes of duality, identity, and perception. The city is stylized like a dream, with erotic undertones woven into the visuals and sound design. It's deliberately disorienting. Clocking in under 12 minutes, the episode is short but intense, more art piece than narrative. It won 3 Emmys and an Annie Award for its animation, sound, and art direction, and for good reason. Although it sparked debate for its sexual content and abstract storytelling, it's frequently cited as one of the anthology's most daring experiments. Life Hutch. This episode adapts a short story by legendary science fiction author Harlan Ellison, originally published in 1973. It's directed by Alex Beatty and animated by Blur Studio, with Michael B. Jordan starring as the unnamed pilot. His likeness, voice, and motion capture performance all rendered in hyper-realistic CGI. The story drops us into the middle of an interstellar war. Jordan's character has crash-landed on a desolate rocky planet after his ship takes damage in combat. Bleeding and barely conscious, he limps to an emergency shelter called a life hutch, but soon discovers that the hutch's defense robot has malfunctioned and sees him as a threat. This is one of the more grounded episodes, with a single setting and minimal dialogue. The bulk of the tension comes from the pilot trying to stay alive in the small room while avoiding the robot's brutal attacks. The animation, handled by Blur Studio, uses photorealistic techniques to make Michael B. Jordan almost indistinguishable from his real-life self. Life Hutch explores themes of AI logic gone wrong, human vulnerability, and the thin line between survival and annihilation. It's a masterclass in tension and restraint, with a focus on problem-solving under pressure. While it's quieter than many other episodes, its tight direction and realism make it a standout, especially for fans of classic hard science fiction. The Tall Grass. Directed by Simon Otto and based on a short story by Joe R. Lansdale, The Tall Grass is a self-contained horror tale with strong Twilight Zone energy. It premiered in Volume 2 and runs just under 11 minutes, making it one of the shorter but more atmospheric entries in the series. The story is set in the early 20th century and follows a man on a steam train journey. When the train stops unexpectedly in the middle of nowhere, he steps outside for a smoke and is warned not to stray far. Naturally, he ignores the advice and wanders into the tall grass, only to discover it's filled with glowing humanoid creatures that appear to be trapped between life and death. The animation, done by Axis Studios, leans into a painterly storybook aesthetic that gives the episode a haunting old-world charm. It contrasts the cozy interior of the train with the otherworldly menace of the grassland. Though the runtime is short, the tall grass manages to create a fully realized setting with clear rules. The creatures are never explained, only hinted to be lost souls of former travelers who wandered too far. That ambiguity, combined with the eerie mood and sense of isolation, is what gives the story its power. It's one of the simplest but most effective horror episodes in the series. Sucker of Souls is one of the bloodiest and most unexpected fun entries in Love, Death, and Robots. Released as part of Volume 1, this episode runs just 13 minutes and is brought to life with hand-drawn animation by French studio La Cachette. It's directed by Owen Sullivan and Gabriele Penaccioli, based on a short story by Kristen Cross, with a script by Philip Galat. The story follows a team of archaeologists and mercenaries who dig too deep and accidentally awaken an ancient vampire, none other than Dracula himself, reimagined as a terrifying feral demon. The art style here is 2D, inspired by Saturday morning cartoons, but with blood-soaked execution. The pacing is fast, the dialogue is punchy, and the entire thing feels like a tribute to classic pulp horror stories. Dracula is portrayed without elegance or charm. He's a monstrous predator, immune to bullets and feeding off fear and flesh. The name Sucker of Souls is taken literally. The creature can hear spoken language, so the only way to avoid attraction is to stay completely silent. This twist turns a loud, gun-toting crew into panicked whisperers in the dark, adding a clever layer of tension. Unlike other Love, Death, and Robots entries that lean heavily on mood or theme, Sucker of Souls is all adrenaline. It's short, brutal, and doesn't pretend to be anything else. Directed by Gabriele Penaccioli and based on a short story by Marco Cluse, Shapeshifters is part war story, part werewolf lore, all rendered in realistic CGI. Set during the US military's campaign in Afghanistan, it follows two Marines, who happen to be werewolves, fighting alongside humans but facing discrimination from their fellow soldiers. The central plot kicks off when Sobieski is found brutally murdered, likely by another shapeshifter fighting for the enemy. Decker, driven by loyalty and rage, tracks down the killer, leading to a visceral showdown that blurs the line between man and monster. The animation is handled by Blur Studio, and it's some of the most photorealistic in the series. The werewolf transformation scenes are so detailed and violent, emphasizing raw power over fantasy. The story's heart lies in its exploration of identity. The protagonist, Sergeant Decker, is proud of his dual nature, but tries to remain loyal to a human military that sees him as an outsider. Shapeshifters is often praised for its world building and character depth. More grounded than most episodes in the series, it uses a sci-fi premise to explore brotherhood and the exploitation of soldiers who don't fit the system they're forced to serve. Swarm. Directed by Tim Miller and based on a story by Bruce Sterling, Swarm stands out as one of the most intellectually complex and morally ambiguous episodes in the series. The animation, done in detailed CG by Blur Studio, is sleek and polished, bringing a fully alien ecosystem to life with disturbing beauty. The story follows two human scientists, Galena and Afriel, who enter a distant part of the galaxy to study the Swarm, an ancient alien hive that has operated without change or rebellion for millions of years. The humans see it as a potential tool. If they can learn how it works, they might weaponize or manipulate it to improve their own species. What follows is a philosophical confrontation between human overconfidence and the vast, indifferent intelligence of the Swarm. Afriel believes he can gain the upper hand, but the Swarm quickly adapts. It absorbs knowledge from the humans and rewrites itself to guarantee it can never be threatened again. Swarm doesn't rely on violence or shock. Instead, it delivers its horror through ideas, specifically the arrogance of trying to control what you don't understand. Pop Squad. Directed by Jennifer U. Nelson and animated by Blur Studio, Pop Squad adapts a short story by Paolo Bacigalupi and takes place in a future where no one dies and no one's allowed to be born. Humanity has achieved near immortality through rejuvenation treatments, but at a cost. Reproduction is illegal. Instead of celebrating new life, this world hunts it down. The story follows Detective Briggs, voiced by Nolan North, whose job is to find and eliminate children born in secret. In the sky-high cities where the elite live forever, children are seen as a threat to balance. But when Briggs encounters a woman hiding her daughter in the ruins of the old world, something shifts. He begins to question the order he's been defending for so long. You see, the episode is visually split between two layers of civilization. At the top, the ageless elite live in beautiful towers, kept youthful by treatments. Below, forgotten corners of the city rot away and mothers hide their children in the shadows. The animation leads into noir, soft lighting, reflective puddles, and hollow silence that says more than dialogue ever could. Pop Squad earned critical praise for its emotional depth and heavy themes, echoing dystopias like Children of Men and Blade Runner. It asks a simple but devastating question: what's the point of living forever if no one's allowed to be born? All Through the House. Directed by Elliot Deer and animated by Blink Industries, All Through the House is one of the shortest entries in the entire Love, Death, and Robots anthology, clocking in at just under 5 minutes. But what it lacks in length, it makes up for in shock value and darkly whimsical horror. The episode follows two children who sneak downstairs on Christmas Eve to catch Santa in the act, but instead of a jolly old man, they're greeted by a massive slobbering insect-like creature that growls their names and vomits out their presents. Frozen in fear, the kids are stunned, but also strangely rewarded. All Through the House is the only stop-motion animation episode in Volume 2, and its visual style leans heavily into holiday nostalgia, until it doesn't. The warm lighting, cozy decorations, and traditional Christmas setup all serve to lull the viewer into a false sense of comfort. The grotesque reveal of Santa turns that on its head, subverting expectations without ever breaking the logic of the world it's built. There's no deeper lore, no complex sci-fi backdrop, just a simple question. What if Santa wasn't human, but still kept the spirit of the holiday? The episode ends with one of the most memorable final lines in the series, capturing a child's logic in a way that's both hilarious and horrifying. And that's a full breakdown of some of the most unforgettable episodes from Love, Death, and Robots. If you haven't seen these yet, now you know what to expect. And if you have, maybe it's time for a rewatch with new eyes and a deeper understanding of what lies beneath each frame. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which episode hit you the hardest, or which one you think deserves more attention.